tight. Guard the doors both day and night. Passwords strong like shields of gold. Love and wisdom shared in bold. Protect our circle, keep it clear. Online shadows lurking near. Guard your fire, don't let it slip. Family strong with cyber tips. Fishing lines and waters deep. Don't let them pull what you keep. Links they shine, but traps they weave. Trust your heart, don't be deceived. Protect our circle, keep it clear. Online shadows lurking near. Guard your fire, don't let it slip. Family strong with cyber tips. Every click we take.
Welcome to Family Cyber Tips Daily, your weekday guide to raising wise, safe digital families. Today's tip: YouTube Kids isn't foolproof. Now, this might come as a shock to many of us, but in 2025, parents still can't afford to relax. Yes, I've recommended YouTube Kids, and rightly so, to the community, but it needs to be said that it is not foolproof. And I have proof, written proof anyway, establishing this to be the case. All right. YouTube Kids is the #1 streaming platform for children. But despite parental settings and content filters, risky content, addictive viewing patterns, and manipulative creators still exist on YouTube Kids. And I hear you ask why. And that's because the algorithms can't parent your child. Only you, the parent, can. Only you, the caregiver, can. All right? So let's unpack 3 overlooked risks. Just 3, okay? I'm going to unpack the risk that has brought us here. All right? 3 of them, and it's not going to be difficult to follow. And if you agree, I don't know whether you've had some episodes or, some issues, you've seen inappropriate content, for example, being shown, feel free to engage with me in the comments, okay? But I'll start with #1. The #1 overlooked risk is that as parents and caregivers, we trust the filter too much. And I think one of the reasons why I released a video a while ago about parental controls not being the best thing since sliced bread, not being all that. And I gave more credence to, you being king, the parent. You have a bigger say than any parental control can. All right. What we're finding is because life is life, people do life in different ways. And one of the excuses is that we don't have time, to pay attention to babysit children whilst they engage online. And that saddens my heart no end. But those are comments I've heard, and that's informed this overlooked risk where some parents anyway, and some caregivers are trusting the filters that exist on YouTube Kids, for example. They've trusted too much. Not all kid-safe videos are safe. The same way I announced to the world that your kid is actually more unsafe under your roof than they are when they go outside. And that should blow your mind. The issue is being on guard and being intentionally involved with our kids. Not all kid-safe videos are safe. They're cartoons with adult jokes. You know, this may not be an issue to many, and that also is sad. But I had to sit down and watch many of the cartoons that I binged on when I was younger, you know, and some of the ones that I used to use to engage our kids when they were younger. And the things that I didn't pay attention to, if you sit down now and binge on the content, you will hear stuff that you will feel rotten that you exposed your young ones to. Like I mentioned, there are cartoons with adult jokes. And there's a recurring sound, even the language, the accent. These are all things that you almost have to wake up and say, was I awake when all this was going on? Because you see or hear, and some of the things that I would love to say will get me into trouble. I don't want to have any trouble with anyone. But ultimately, I advise you to sit down and listen to the cartoons that, you know, your kids are watching. There seems to be a recurring theme. Kids not sounding like kids. There's this mix. And that's the one I don't get. There's a mix. There's a voice. You can't tell whether they're a child or whether they're an adult, something in between. It's almost like they're forcing you to, or forcing your child or you to adopt or accept that accent or that, I don't even know what to call it. But it is really, really disturbing. And on that note, disturbing, you see videos that you will believe are safe. Remember when you put on YouTube Kids? I'm actually staying on this for a longer than I needed to, but if this is where we park our bus, so be it. Seriously, when you sit down and listen to, not all of them, of course, there's some cartoons that are beautiful, but the whole idea is that you believe that these things are safe because it says YouTube Kids. YouTube is huge. Like I said, YouTube Kids is number one, the number one streaming platform for kids. So you will expect that they've thrown everything at it. And indeed, I will read the disclaimer later on from YouTube Kids, the privacy disclaimer, so that you understand that it's not their fault. It's not YouTube's fault. If anything, YouTube Kids or YouTube have thrown everything at this, you know? But somehow, as I will read in the disclaimer, stuff still gets through. And content that might be good for one kid may not be good for others. And so it's a very difficult balance to strike. So I get that YouTube, this is not YouTube's fault. The rogue wants to, mess up our families. And so YouTube have these, silos or these barriers, these firewalls, these things that they've put in, filters, that's the correct word, to prevent these rogues from coming in. But they still come in. So it's not YouTube's fault. And YouTube, I hope you never thought that I was rubbishing you. It's not YouTube's fault. YouTube are doing everything possible to make this playground safe. But the rogue is every now and then able to get these things through. But the thematic concern, the disturbing themes, the adult jokes, that's a societal ill. It's not, where do you draw the line? Basically, they've done all the best they can do. So that's why it's important. You, the parent, you have to be involved. You have the final say what your kid gets to watch. Like I was saying, you allow your kids to watch YouTube Kids on their own because it's supposed to be safe. And so imagine your child listening to all that. And at times, you guys know yourselves. We leave our kids to binge on that stuff, and just imagine cartoons that are running with adult jokes and disturbing themes, and at times from unverified creators. These are all things that can't happen. Okay? Absolutely can't happen. And like I said, they slip through YouTube's or YouTube Kids filters, very solid filters. So our hands are almost tied, but at least we can do something. Another overlooked risk will be autoplay's addictive loop. Like I mentioned, we just keep our kids in front of that TV with cartoons or YouTube Kids and they just binge, and that can become addictive, even with a child-safe app, like YouTube Kid. Autoplay feeds a binge watching habit that the kid may not be able to come out of when they're a lot older. One harmless video can lead to 10 in a row with no adult around. And of course, this is happening because there's no adult around, because YouTube Kids is safe. You see how this just goes, around in a circle. Rushing. A third overlooked risk will be the false sense of security I've kind of mentioned. Many parents assume that because it's YouTube Kids, the job is done. And I have hailed them, I've celebrated them. They've done so much YouTube. But you're still getting those things come through. They still come through. Dangerous content often comes wrapped in bright thumbnails and harmless titles. There's so much they can do. The one thing I can tell you, and this is something that I've seen, is YouTube they're constantly getting intelligence from, their platform. And to help them, when you see, like, for example, let's say you sit down with your young one and you're watching content and you see something or hear something, really disturbing, you can report it to the to the right channels, and they would submit that to a platform or a portal that will take that in, and they will learn lessons from how the thing got in, what things they should put. So it builds their intelligence. Their database gets enriched, and when they put those filters up, they'll be able to filter such content. But it has to be the community. Everybody has to chip in, especially because we're so invested in our kids. We have to report anytime we are not in agreement with what is coming through. If we keep quiet and accept it, the algorithm will just assume that, oh, it's a good tick, and keep serving you the content. Can you see how this whole thing works? Sorry if I'm coming across a bit passionate. The whole context, the whole reason why we are doing what we're doing is because we're passionate about what our kids are being exposed to. They don't deserve this. It's not their fault. They don't deserve this rubbish. Okay? So we applaud YouTube. We ask that they continue to do more, even though we know that the few that slip through will still hurt. Just keep doing what you're doing. And don't know whether one day we'll get there. I don't want to be living in cuckoo land. Ultimately, we have to get involved. And then we're going to go and discuss solutions in a bit. Okay? I had this disclaimer. I don't know where it is. Let me see if I can find it, because I said I was going to tell you about the disclaimer. Let me see, because I've got to read it so you don't think I'm making this up. But YouTube Kids and YouTube have a disclaimer where this is all, laid bare. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. And I don't know that I can show you. Can I? I didn't prep for this, but I'm going to see if I can show you the text. I didn't prep for it. I'm almost tempted to not bother. Bear with me. It's live after all. But I promised I was going to show you, so let's do this. if you're just joining, I have to keep this going. If you're just joining, I am digging out the information, but I didn't prep for it. So, let me see if I can find it. I'm sure you're still seeing me, but I'm going to go behind the scenes and see if... okay, 1 second. This is so bad. This is so bad. Come on, Lawrence. Just want to make sure that we are on the same... Yeah. Okay. I'm going to show it to you just now. So sorry, but seriously, this is important because, like I said, I don't want to get into trouble. YouTube have told us that we've got to watch out for these things. Where are you? Okay, so it's there now. And I'm going to broadcast it. Love this app. One day we'll get to talk about the app I use. Where are we? There we go. And publish. Okay. Let's see if I can go back to live mode. Yes, I can. And that's us there. All right, so that's it there. It says YouTube Kids includes a disclaimer acknowledging. Let's see. Acknowledging that despite their efforts, some inappropriate content may occasionally slip through their filters. This disclaimer is presented during the app's, that's YouTube Kids, initial setup process, informing parents that the service cannot fully guarantee the appropriateness of all videos. See? There's no, well, in some ways, it's almost like there's no accountability, especially those not manually curated. So parents, this is me also telling you the same thing. Parents are encouraged to use the app's parental controls to manage their child's viewing experience and to report or block. Some of you who are on YouTube Kids are not doing anything. You're talking about it, but you're not doing anything. Report or block any unsuitable content you encounter. And to enhance safety, YouTube Kids offers features such as the ability to limit content to human-reviewed channels and to disable the search function. You know, I think it's Google Safe Search, and they have restricted mode. These are all tools that they have, and it reduces the likelihood of children encountering inappropriate material. Parents are advised to utilize these settings and remain... Sorry, I wasn't going up. Oh boy, that's so bad, Lawrence. Parents are... I'll just continue. Parents are advised to utilize... So sorry. Where is it? Yeah, so it's just there. Parents are advised to utilize these settings and remain vigilant in monitoring their children's online activity. Let me go back there and just keep it. I'll do it for seconds so that you can see it again, okay? I'm not going to read it again. So that's, don't know how fast you read, but hey. Okay, so that's the first paragraph. Okay? And I'll just keep going just in case you want to take snapshots. Okay? I'll just start reading from here. YouTube Kids employs a combination of automated systems, human reviewers, and user feedback to maintain a family-friendly environment. The family feedback is so important. If we don't speak about it, then they don't know. Then they don't boost their intelligence. Okay? So some inappropriate videos may bypass these safeguards. This has been a concern for parents and experts who recommend that parents actively manage their children's viewing by setting up parental controls, creating curated playlists, and engaging in discussions about watched content. This is getting longer than it needs to be, to ensure it aligns with family values like ours, hello, okay, and developmental appropriateness. All right. And this is where we were. To enhance safety, YouTube Kids offers features as the ability to limit content to human reviewed channels and to disable the search function. Imagine you searching homework, you put a search value and it comes up with inappropriate content. You know, that just can't be a good thing. So these things are definitely being watched and monitored, but there is need for you, the parent, to also get involved. Okay. Wow, that was quite long. All right. So we've just finished the overlooked risks. And sorry, just to go back there briefly, if you look there, for more detailed information, you can refer to the YouTube Kids privacy notice and the YouTube Kids terms of service. In some way, it's an exoneration for them that if our kids get damaged, offended, or you get offended or damaged by content you view on YouTube Kids, really, they've told you already they're doing their best. But every now and then you may see something, which is why we must be involved. You know, they can nanny us up to a point, but ultimately it's our responsibility, God-given responsibility, folks. Okay. Oh, wow. That was, yeah. Let's discuss some solutions. All right. What can we do as parents? That has to be a focus. What can we do as parents? You know, with all that we've had now, you know, what exactly can we do? Sorry, I'm making sure that we are on the same page. All right. Okay. So, what can you do as a parent or caregiver? Disable autoplay. Yeah. That is primarily one that we would recommend as number one, because it will break the binge cycle that we are almost forcing on our kids. I don't know whether you've been in a house where you have a young lad or young girl watching TV, and let's say visitors come and you turn the TV off and note the reaction of the child. You've stopped that binge situation and the kid is not happy. How you manage that is crucial. And so one way we believe, and we've seen it to work, is disable autoplay. They don't know. Disable it. So it breaks the possibility of binging. It breaks the binge cycle. Okay? And on YouTube Kids, you are able to switch to approved content only mode. That will give you control over what they see. Okay? You take control. It's important to do this, you know. It's I feel like someone with a whip. Another thing you can do, at least this is age specific, check their watch history weekly. Check what they've watched. It's often more revealing than you think, you know? And of course, the one thing, in addition to all the other things that you will do as we do on this channel, talk to your kids. Please. Talk to them. You know, don't let culture get in the way. Don't let any of that stuff get in the way. Ask them, what did you watch today? At first, it will be wooden and rigid. And the more they answer you and look forward to the question, the more you will tune in, you know? And you're not asking them as a test, but you want to have a conversation. Man, I really, if I didn't have this music playing, I don't know where my head will be, but it is sad. It really is sad. And YouTube Kids was something that I recommended. I still do. But I it's no longer a recommendation like leave and forget. No. I'm recommending it still, but you've got to be there. Okay? So whilst they watch, You see something. You notice when I read that thing, it says they depend on family feedback. Report or block. Report, feedback. So they need it. They need you. So you become a filter in some way to protect your child. They have the resources, but they don't know where to throw those resources to or at because you've kept your situation to yourself. All right? Report anything that you see. YouTube Kids can still be a tool, but it's never a substitute. Okay? For you being present, you being curious, you being the filter that your child needs. Okay? Share this content evidently with people who don't know what I've just told you, who would boast on YouTube Kids forever. And rightly so, like I said, but with these highlights, you need to share this with them, not to frighten them, but to do something, get involved. So please share it with a parent that you care about. And there are many, I'm sure. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, 6 p.m. All right? Right here on Family Cyber Tips Daily. Okay? I've been your host, Lawrence Edem. God bless. Goodbye.
Links they shine, but traps they weave. Trust your heart, don't be deceived.